Good day everyone, I am April Campomanes, your English teacher for today. So you can call me Miss April or Teacher April. It will all depends on your if ever where you're comfortable at. So before we start our discussion, I would like to ask someone who will lead the prayer. Can I have Kanya to lead the prayer? Okay, stand up. Dali na. Kana up ka tanan. Go. Ikaw na, let us put ourselves. Ay, hindi ko na. Okay, go. The name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Angel of God, my guide. Meet me here every this day, be at my side, the light and guard, through and guide, amen. And the Father, the Son, and Holy Spirit. Okay, can you take your seat? Thank you, everyone. So before I will discuss the definition of choral speaking or reading, I will be showing you a video so that you will have a short info or idea about our discussion for today. So, wait a sec.
Choral reading can be done across grade levels and across content area. But always remember that the focus should be on comprehension. So while students will have a great time using choral reading, circle back around and make sure that their comprehension is where you want it to be for that text. Also, carefully choose the text so that it's not too difficult when they first set out.
So today, girls, we're reading a book called Let's Pretend. Who likes to pretend? I do too. I like to pretend. Well, what do you like to pretend? Because there's so many things, so many choices. What do you like to pretend, Jada?
I like to pretend like I'm a doctor.
Okay, that's good. You like to pretend like you're a doctor.
Select a book that works well for reading aloud as a group. The best materials will be at the independent or instructional reading level of the students, contain dialogue or rhythm, and be relatively short in length.
Keisha, what do you like to pretend?
I like to pretend I'm a teacher just like you.
Oh, that's sweet.
When you're ready to start, make sure each student has a copy of the text so that they can follow along.
Pretending too. Okay, are you with me? Let's pretend we're going to do a choral reading. That means, yep, we're all going to read together. But first, Miss Tisdale is going to model for you how I want you to read. I want you to listen to my voice, listen to how my voice changes. Remember we've talked about that word fluency? And we talk about having great fluency. And especially when someone is speaking, you need to let your audience know that someone is actually speaking, okay? So I'm going to model first, but I want you to follow along with your pointer.
When it's time to start reading, it's the teacher who goes first. It's important to model fluent reading for students, but have them follow along using a marker or finger as you read aloud.
I'm reading, but you're listening and following along so that when you get to that part in the book, you'll be able to, okay? Look at Matthew. Matthew is a rabbit. Matthew is not happy. Okay, now I want you to notice on this page that we see quotation marks. And remember, when someone's using quotation marks, that means what? What does that mean, Brianna?
Somebody's talking.
Somebody's talking or speaking. So I want you to listen to how my voice changes. Grrr, grrr, said Emma. I am a bear. I am a big bear. Grrr, grrr. Notice I said big bear. I want you to put your finger under the word big. What's different about that word? Talia?
Because big, you're supposed to say it loud.
But why?
Change your voice.
Yes, you're right.
So, because the big is the word is bigger than the other.
Very good. That word is bigger. The print is larger than the other ones, so it lets you know to say it louder, as Talia said, than the other words.
Finally, have the students read the story aloud in unison. Watch to make sure they are following along in the text.
Now that I've read the book and you followed along with your pointer, I'm ready to hear you read the story. So let's pretend. Okay?
When reading with the students, pay attention to their pacing, fluency, and expression.
Matthew. Matthew is a rabbit. Matthew is not happy. Grrr, grrr, said Emma. I am a bear. I am a big bear. Grrr, grrr. Look at Matthew and Emma.
No, Marquisha.
Good job, girls.
Choral reading involves important reading practice for students. Students read the same text at the same time. Students develop their reading fluency, they read with more expression, and they read with more confidence and a positive attitude.
So can you growl like a bear? And remember, there's an exclamation point there. Grrr, grrr. Good job.
So that's the end of the video. Now, I will be asking you, what are your thoughts after you saw the video? Any volunteers? Alexis, stand up. What are your thoughts about the video that I showed you earlier? Okay, again, louder. Read aloud. Okay, thank you. So, the answer of Alexis is correct. Then, according to the video, these are the like handouts or like pointers na short siya to remember about choral reading. So, speaking or reading. So, reading level. With choral speaking or reading, it enhances your reading level. Nga naman, kay lagi choral speaking or reading, sige makagbasa. Like, the more ka sige basa, then ang imuhang knowledge in terms of reading is mo pansad, mo increase. Then, follow along. Anong follow along man? Katong, as according to the video, namutanaw, like, ang pagbasa good nimo kay through the use of hands, through the use of your fingers. Like, for example, basahan ninyo, then wala ko reading reading level. So, with the use of my fingers, mo na siyang kakuan. The next is read aloud. So, Alexis, ganong feel nimo if i-read aloud ang usa ka text kay ganong helpful siya? Or makasabot. Okay, yes, very good. So, the more ka, naidyo uban na if kusog imuhang tingog or like imong i-read aloud ang usa ka text, is more likely makasabot sila. Then lastly, it involves practice. So, reading or choral reading or speaking, dili siya mahimo in just a snap lang. Kay it involves practice man. The more you enjoyed is better read aloud than silently. Then, so it means sakto ang giingon ni Alexis. Then, it should be never used as a reading exercise. To read a poem silently is to miss the musical rhythmic quality and perhaps its meaning. So, to read poetry aloud, it demands it from reader a keen imagination and delicate. So, when you read daw, kay more likely you will imagine things. So, for example, di ba, if mo ingon, mo sulti ko usa ka story, maka-imagine ba mo or dili? Dili mo maka-imagine? If magbasa mo, wala mo imagination? Ikaw, Travis, nga na mo hagwala. Or dili lang siya ka mo basa. Unsa man. So, muna siya. Then, definition of choral reading or speaking. I want Travis and Sandrine to read it. Kamudungan mo. Louder ha. Sige, go. Go. Maklaro ra ninyo? Dali na. Dali, Travis. Dali na. Go. Basa mo. Travis, dali. Ay, sige. Ikaw na. Ayaw mo ka. Oo, dali na. Nakabasa, mo gahapon. Dali na. Go. Akong ikuan katong with the use of my hands ha. My finger. So, go. Read it aloud. Choral reading.
Ay, wait na tanak ko yun. Lagi siyang basa.
Dali, go pa, Sanbin. O sama pa, paatubang mo or ara lang mo sa lingkuranan. Sige, go.
Tabang ito po basa.
Dali na. Ay, mong kauwaw. Go. One. Ano nag-cellphone ka, Travis? Off. Go. Choral reading dali. 1, 2, 3, go. Ay, mo sige kanta. Ay, sige, ganina lang. Kamo na lang tanan, Bi. Kamo na lang tanan. If dili gali mo, if kita kay ko na di mo kay ba, ay dili mo mubasa ha kay tawagon ta mo din. Questionon ta mo later. Okay? Sige na, go. 1, 2, 3, go.
Choral reading or speaking is the interpretation of poetry by several voices. Speaking as one, it is the group interpretation of poetry for the purpose of sharing enjoyment and increasing enjoyment of it.
Then,
Choral reading involves the use of a book or script.
so, by definition daw, it involves books or script. Why? Because from the word is you will read. So, if dili man ka maka-read if wala kay material, di ba? Then, it is interpretation of poetry also and several voices. It involves several voices. So, katay nang gibuhat ganiha, it is an example of choral reading. So, next. Now, I will be talking to you the history of choral speaking. So, ang choral speaking kay, everything has its own history. So, in choral speaking, it is not a recent development. The Hebrew had the antiphonal chorus. So, I will be discussing to you what is an antiphonal chorus later. It is the chanting of prayers or hymn alternately by two groups or by a leader or a choir which gave the responses. So, choir mo na siya dungan, like, involves a lot of people. And then, so, mo na siya sa Hebrew. Then, sa Greek, kay, it is a chorus or recites the main action to play or to hold the plot together. Then, England and France and Germany kay muna siya chanted and recited tales of heroic deeds in verse, and their audience must have joined in reciting brief rates. So, that is the history of choral speaking. Next is the use of choral speaking. So, di ba, last discussion, I've talked to you about the use of poetry. Now, I will be explaining to you the use of choral speaking. Alexis, please read it. Start. Louder,
Choral
ha?
speaking can be used in school at all levels.
Tarong nga.
Choral speaking can be used in school at all levels. It is an activity that children and adults of any age can enjoy. For children of preschool and kindergarten level, the Mother Goose rhymes, nonsense verses, and jingles with a very marked rhythm can be used. Children in the elementary grades would enjoy poems with narrative interest, vivid imaginary, and strong rhythm, while elder children would prefer poems they could interpret with feeling.
So, according to the last discussion, I will connect it to the last discussion, ha? So, in the last discussion, it says that, it is important to know the interest of an individual. So, if children or elementary people would enjoy poems with narrative interest, while elder people would prefer poems that they could interpret with meaning. So, di ba, samtang nagkadugay kay, as we tend to get older kay, bisag simple na gud kay nabutang kalbut nga nato siya meaning. So, like for example, sa poem, kay, if we saw or we can makadungog ta og something na color blue, unsa may mosul sa inyong hunahuna, di ba? You're feeling sad ba? Sakto ba? Di ba? If blue, I'm feeling blue, kay you're feeling sad. Right? Okay. Nganong di man, Alexis? Sige, defend your answer. Nganong nag-ana-ana ka?
Dili, ingon man ka ako mag-imagine ko kung mayroon ka blue, kaya feel na ko sa di mo.
No, elder people gali, but you're not
Lahi man ko.
considered.
Kani, you're not considered as an elder people pa man. Apa man ka sa... Next is poems suitable for choral speaking. So there are poems suitable for choral speaking. So poems which are universal in tone, poems which vary in mood, content, and type, poems that are lyrical and narrative, poems with marked rhythm, poems that are rich in auditory image, and poems that can be used with three voices. So muna siya, these are kaning if naa siya ani na poems na naagali check ani, then it is okay to use para sa choral speaking. So, types of choral speaking arrangement. There are 4 basic types of choral arrangement. What do you think is the first type of choral arrangement? What do you think is the first type of choral arrangement?
Refrain.
Okay, refrain. So, this type, refrain, is a type of poetry which contains lines or verses which are repeated. So, refrain, balik-balik. More na, okay? Remember, refrain, balik-balik, or in repetition. Again, what is refrain?
Balik-balik.
Kamu tanan, dili sa Alexis ako student. Go, again.
Balik-balik.
Ang? Okay, very good. Next is sequence. Sequence is a type that is best employed in poems which develops its thoughts into a strong climax or which 2 lines are increasing or growing in response. So, sequence is naa siya'y, ano ba? Naa siya'y, muna ko sa chart na, sa kali. Hindi na ko ma-open. Like, naa siya, muna ko siya stairs na, paan na siya ba? So, naa siya sequence or like pa-down, pa-up siya, or pa-down siya. So, muna ang example sa sequence. So, sequence is naa siya improvement, it's either increasing or decreasing, then refrain kay balik-balik, okay? Wala rin question so far? Next is antiphonal. The antiphons or antiphonals is a traditional form of reciting biblical verses like Psalms, "The Lord is my shepherd," and passages like the Beatitudes. And these are best interpreted by using the antiphonal or 2-part responses. So, antiphonal kay more on siya used for biblical verses. Then unison. Unison, can you please read it all? Lungan mo together, please. Thank you. 1, 2, 3, go.
One expression is strong and powerful are best interpreted by the whole speaking group rather than by part grouping or the semi-choruses. This is the most difficult type
Six.
requires the ability to with perfect timing, proper control of volume of voice.
Now, I'll be asking you sa inyong reading ganiha, naa unison or wala? Naa unison or wala? Like, tagadungan ba mo? Sure? Awa o? To speak together at the same time with perfect timing, proper control, and volume of voice. Naato ganiha? Pag read, wala. Naa, wala. Wala, di ba? Nganong slight man, wala man jud di siya. Wala jud na apply. Wala mo nagbasa tanan. Unya, wala mo nagdungan og basa. Ang inong tingog, inyong tono. So, meaning, ang katong ganiha, it is not an example of proper or kanang choral reading. Okay? Then, lastly, line a child. Ato i-make sure na nana mo unison ani. Basahan ninyo. Go.
Line a child. Each line of a poem is read by a different child. Kinds of voices are semi-choruses. There are 8 types of voices used in choral speaking or reading. 1. light or high voices, for reading or saying lines that suggest fun, happiness, brightness, for asking questions unless a male asks the questions, dark or low voices, for terror, sadness, solemnity, for answer question, unless a female answers the question. Medium voices, for blending all voices, for relating the narrative, for introducing the characters, and for giving explanation.
Okay, so line at child daw is na siya different tones. Then, we will use the dark or low voices if ever na ang tone or like ang subject sa story is about terror, mystery, sadness, or solemnity. So, ang second naman sad kay medium voices. So, muna siya ang kanang narration. Muna siya ang use sa mga narrator, this type of voice. Okay? Then lastly is the light or high volume. So, light or high volume, kay muna siya if ever na ang imong basahon kay happy ang line. Okay? Or fun. Then, kinds of voices or semi-choruses. Ano na ba? Light or high voices. So, I mean, muna din na ganyan. So, kaya na siya. Kinds of voices, again, kinds of voices or semi-choruses kay enumerate daw. Unsay 1, 2, ug 3 na kinds of voices. Go. Number 1 kind of voice is light or
high voices,
number 2. Unsay number 2?
dark or low voices,
Okay, very good. Then last number 3.
medium voices.
Okay. So, muna siya ang kinds of voices, okay? I'll be asking you later or about the kinds of voices. Then, for the last one, steps in choral speaking. Awa ha, ingani siya salitan ta. I'll be reading the odd numbers. So, kay ba mo say odd numbers? Unsay odd numbers? Go, Alexis. Okay, example sa odd numbers.
3,
1.
1, 3, 5, 7, 9.
Okay. So, I'll be reading all odd numbers. Then, all even numbers kamoy mo basa. Dungan mo tanan, okay? Gets ra? So, kamo 2, 4, 6, 8. Ako 1, 3, 5, 9. Okay? Gets ra? Steps in choral speaking. First, read the poem selected from its content. The teacher or conductor reads the poem to the class or group. If copies of the poem can be furnished to the group, they can follow teacher's reading and they can concentrate on the content of the poem. Number 2.
Determine the type and the mood of the poem. The mood of the poem will determine the kind of voices or semi-choruses to use.
Number 3. Understand the meaning of the poem. The meaning of every new word or phrase, especially words of unfamiliar or strange significance. 4.
Know the
Kamutanan, dungan mo. 1, 2, 3, go.
Know the rhythmical nature of the poem, the tempo and movement in the poem.
Number 5. Read the poem with the children. Spot pronunciation faults. After pointing out the pronunciation faults, show how diction can be improved. 6.
Repeat the selection together. Try several interpretations in order to decide on the best arrangement.
7. Apportion these parts and lines to the children. Let them say the poem without your help. 8.
Make sure that the voices blend properly. See to it that no one voice will be heard about the others or trailing behind the others.
Then, number 9, lastly, in the steps in choral speaking, avoid sing-song recitation. So, kanang mo na siya ang flat sa usa ka person. Then, having a repeated rising and falling rhythm. So, dili siya, like, ang tono good niya, kay mukalitag up, niya mukalitag down, o niya, wala, dili, ingana ang angay buhaton. Okay? So, instead daw, in the choral speaking, ako siya i-summarize ha, it is important to ask first, or kita tanandugan. As a teacher, I will be helping you how to read it, how to properly read it. Then, kanang also, before, dili ra ta basa kung basa, you need to understand the context. Okay? Wala ra may questions? Sure? Nakasabot ra? Sure? Okay, so that's the end of the discussion. And I will give you 10-minute break. Dayon, after that, I will be conducting an evaluation. Okay? Class, for today's activity, we'll be playing Pass the Message. Familiar mo, Ana, or dili? Sige, but for the information of everyone na lang, so this game will be played by all of you. Dayon, mag-line mo, form mo og line. Dayon, in one line kay na ay ipasa-pasa ko ng message na ang naa diri, like ako ang gisuwat. So, ani form your line na dili. Ato na scatter lahat na sa dito the pit. Form sa line. Kamu. Wait lang. Ayaw mo sa glihok, ayaw mo sa tabi. Okay, so kanyang munang word. Talikod mo ha. Okay na? Okay na kases?
Choral speaking and reading is fun because it gives us knowledge.
Again.
Choral speaking and reading is fun because it gives us knowledge.
Okay, so sakto siya. Then kaning I would like to tell usa na muas ko to everyone na isulti ko sa ang message. 1, 2, 3, go.
Choral speaking and reading is fun because it gives us knowledge.
Okay. So, muna siya. Dili na ako need to explain because muna siya. So, that's the end of today's activity. Pwede na mo bubalik sa inyong seat. In your paper, can you write your name and the date today? Then, I will be asking you questions related to our discussion earlier. 12. Okay. Number 1. It is the interpretation of poetry by several voices speaking as one. Again, number 1. It is the interpretation of poetry by several voices speaking as one. Pens off if you're done. Pens off if you're done. Ano? Number 2. In the history of choral speaking, this nationality, in their dramas, a chorus recites the main action of the play to hold the plot together. Unsa na nationality? In history of choral speaking, what nationality that involves dramas or chorus recites the main action of the play to hold the plot together? So, we have the Hebrew, the Greek, then the England people. Asa na? You choose one. Pens off if you're done. Number 3. True or false? True or false rin ha? Word ang ibutang. Choral speaking can be used in school at all levels. True or false? Choral speaking can be used in school at all levels. Three, 4, 5, and 6. Enumeration. Cite at least 3 poems suitable for choral speaking. Cite 3 poems suitable for choral speaking. 4, 5, 6. Okay. Wait. 4, 5, and 6. Write at least 3 poems suitable for choral speaking. Hands up if you're done. Again, 4, 5, and 6. Write at least 3 poems suitable for choral speaking. Number 7. This is best employed in poems This is a type of choral speaking in which this is best employed in poems which develop it thought into a strong climax or which 2 lines are increasing or growing in response. So katong ingon diri hada, increasing ang kuan. What type of choral reading or speaking? Pens up if you're done. Number 8. This type is used with poetry which contains lines or verses which are repeated. Gatong ingon ako kanina balik-balik. This type is used with poetry which contains lines or verses which are repeated. Number 8. Gatong balik-balik akong isulti. Then, number 9. This type of oral reading or speaking, wherein each line of a poem is read by a different child. So, by line siya. Again, number 9. This type of oral reading or speaking involves each line, or wherein each line of a poem is read by different child. Behave mo. Number 10. Secret. Number 10. A kind of voices wherein it blends all voices, correlating the narrative or introducing the characters and for giving explanation. So, pwede na, awas, na choices for the book. A, light or high voices. B, dark or low voices. Or C, medium voices. Ang choices kay A, light or high voices. B, dark or low voices. And C, medium voices. So, 11 to 20 for 10 points ni ha. Kuan. Why is oral speaking important? 11, number 11 to 20. Good for 10 points. Dili siya need 10 sentences sa kanang okay direct to the point. Basta kanang why is oral speaking important? Why is oral speaking or reading important? Good for 10 points. 11 to 20. If you're done, you can pass the papers to me. Okay, run 1 to 3 sentences as long as they're to the point and 9 points. Okay, so I'll give you 5 minutes break para mag-chill. So, ako na i-check later ang inyong answers. But for today, kana end na sa to ang discussion and I will see you tomorrow. Okay, everyone? Then, same time and koan. Kaning, but before mo end kay koan sa prayer. Isay mo lead. Alexis. So, up mo guys. Everyone. So, so thank you and goodbye class. Goodbye.
Goodbye.